Ugh, no coffee this morning. I haven't got one with me. I've already had one, but I feel like I need another. Really tired today. I think all this staying up late for the Pro League is taking its toll. I just don't. I'm too old now. You see, I used to, like when I was like 20. I used to be able to stay up until 2 o'clock or something and go to work the next day at 9 a.m. And now I don't even need to really get up for anything. I mean, I did try to get up to cop the off-whites this morning, but that went as well as expected. And now here I am. I've just caught the EGOG game. It was another good night of Pro League games. Probably some of the best that we've seen so far. And these teams are starting to get comfortable in that setting, starting to get to the point now where they are feeling good about themselves, and we're seeing some good games because of it. Now, let's just jump into it. Let's not talk about my tiredness too much. Let's talk about Rec against Genji. A great game here from both teams, to be honest with you. I think, this was looking like it was going to go to a last map, and then Genji clutched up. And yeah, Genji are really showing great resilience once again and showing that they are all around a pretty good team. When we looked at this team at the beginning of the season, and for me, at the beginning of the Pro League, I sort of thought to myself that S&D is really going to be where their strengths lie, but honestly, their hard-point and control look really, really good as well. I think if you're Reciprocity, though, they know that they didn't play their best in this game, I feel, and I think that will haunt them a little bit. You've seen how well Tommy played, especially in that first map. Oh my god, it was absolutely ridiculous what he was putting up. And even in the second hard point, he played phenomenally as well. So I think the rest of the team just didn't necessarily play amazing. We've seen some good moments, don't get me wrong. None of them really played badly. I mean, I don't want to single them out, but Wuskins really didn't do well with his specialist today. After yesterday, we seen him doing fantastically. I think it just had a bad day. And I think if Wuskins plays a little bit better, which we know he can, we know he's a very, very good player, then I think Reciprocity at least force a map, number 5, I should say. Maybe even go on to win the series in one of the other maps. But a close game. I'm not too worried for Reciprocity. I think, they should be beating UIU and EG the way that EG are playing at the moment. And against UIU, I think it'll be tough, but it should be a good game. But yeah, I think they've got some tough games to remain. They've got to play UIU, EG, Midnight, and Optic. Optic are getting better, but it's a potential. We'll see how good Optic are looking. Midnight, again, look like they can bleed. So Reciprocity, it's not over for them in terms of where they finish in the group. They very much could finish pretty high, and there's some good games going to come up for them. However, Genji looking really, really solid. Like when I see them from them, they look like the top team in this group. Let's move on to LG against UIU. This wasn't a good game because LG seemed to suck. I can't really get my head around it. It just seems like the teamwork isn't there. I keep harping on about it, and I have done since the beginning of the season, but I just think losing JCap, if you're this team, was a terrible idea. It was a really, really bad idea. I don't get why they did it. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know if it was a case of, I'm not 100% sure on whether it was JCap leaving or it was up to the team, etc. But I just think it's a very, very tough situation for them right now. Their specialists just don't seem to be working very well. I would say they at least need a change up of that. But the teamwork just isn't there. They really need to sort of look at some of these other teams and look what they're doing in terms of trading, in terms of just pretty much everything. I mean, honestly, LG are getting maps based on how good their individual players are. I mean, John is not playing amazing, which you expect from him. Formal and Gunless do look good, but Formal's inconsistent. Gunless is consistently fairly decent, but I really just don't know. Slacked is playing poorly. I just think that they maybe need somebody else in there who can really put up the numbers. I think they've got, I was going to say deadweight, but I think that's a bit harsh. I think they've got too many people on that team who aren't necessarily Slayer heavy, and I think this game is really Slayer heavy. So we'll see. We'll see. I think LG are one of the teams that could potentially see them make a change come March, because right now this isn't working, and LG expect to be at the top. I do need to see more from them. UIU, fair play to them. Methods looked really, really good. Seems to be slotting in nicely. The rest of the team playing well around him as well, and that team will get better as time goes on. Obviously, as Methods has just slotted in, so justice for Spoof, yes, but Methods is playing well for this UIU team, so we'll keep an eye on them and see how they do. Now, Midnight against Red was probably the best game we've seen so far in this Pro League. It was an absolute corker, to be honest with you. I feel like this very much could have been 3-0 to Red. It was such a close game. But literally, I think every map, apart from the first S&D, really could have been anyone's. Midnight, though, props to them. Wow. I mean, look, they go on to beat these teams comfortably. They beat Optic comfortably day one. Of course, we know that Optic were using a sub, and there's a query on whether that would have obviously been the case had Dashi been there. But I think realistically, we've seen them go through everything now. We've seen them do these 3-0s nice and simply, but then when things get tough, when they lose a control Arsenal for the first time, their heads don't seem to waver. Then they go on to win the next 2 maps after Red go 2-1 up after winning the Search at the control. And even after map number 1, you know, that was really, really close, and it just comes down to those little moments where Midnight just prevailed. Super interesting game, though, and I really, really like what I've seen from Midnight. And to be honest with you, one guy I really want to look at, obviously we talked about Envoy, we've talked about Brack. Parzilian played really well. You know, that AR role for him was really, really good. Went up against Raiden. We've seen Raiden on Twitter after the game sort of saying, look, I'm not playing great with the ICR right now. Basically is what he said. I mean, he's complaining about the gun more, I think, but Parzilian did well with his ICR in that game, and that might have potentially been the difference. It was the difference on a couple of the S&D rounds. I will say in the last map, I will say that Red did get unlucky. I did look back at what Red said on Twitter this morning, saying, you know, like 4 out of 5 rounds, we sent 5 man to one side and they went to the other, and it was just like, I think the odd occasion here and there they just didn't catch a break and got a little bit unlucky, but that's what S&D's about. Sometimes it can be a little bit about luck, and they just didn't get it. But as said, I want to give full props to Midnight in this game. Showed their resilience where they needed to. But Red, I don't think they should be too disappointed. Obviously they will be. They'll be gutted with the loss, but I think they're playing well. I really do. And I think that the wins will start to come, and they'll get a big win off somebody. I'm trying to work out who Red have actually got left to play. Let's have a look. So they played against Midnight. They've played again. Hold on, all the results are here. Here we go. They played Reciprocity. They played Midnight. They played Genji. So tomorrow they're going to play LG. That's a must-win game for them. And I think the way that LG are playing right now, they win that. But tomorrow is a big, big game for Red Reserve. To go 2-2 is not awful, but they need a win, realistically. They don't want to be brought down into the bottom. But going up against LG tomorrow will be an interesting one, I am sure. Now let's move on to EG versus OG. OG are looking better by the day. They really are. Things are looking so much better, and for EG, things just seem to be looking worse. We'll talk about EG first. I think it was a good point was made by Joe that the communication just doesn't seem to be there on a good level. They just don't seem to have that spark. They're coming in very, very flat. I wonder if there's an issue within the team potentially, or I don't know if the roles are just a little bit messed up potentially, but I just don't get it though, because at the PLQ they look great, they look really good, but Vicento just doesn't seem to be playing the same game. I don't know, the spark just is not there right now, and it needs to be fixed quickly. But something that has been fixed quickly is OG's scenario, because obviously they came into it with a sub, having to use Zuma. Things didn't start great, they got better, and they got better again. You know, they seem to, as each series goes on, get better, which is good for you OG fans. The role switch from Zuma and Scump. Scump obviously going to Maddox now, and Zuma with the SMG, obviously the SOG. I think allowing him to do his role is probably the best thing you can do, because we know that Zuma over the years has been a very good SMG player. Not so much this year, but sitting in this roster, you know, let him go around and do his role. The rest of the team already know how this team works, so switching one of those guys up to suit your sub seems to be the play, and it seems to work out. A much better game from them in a 3-0 fashion. Pretty dominant in each game, to be honest with you. There was maybe a whisper of a comeback from EG on the first map, but other than that, it really was a fairly dominant performance from OG. The S&D and the control was fairly comfortably. But yeah, I think as time goes on, as each series goes on, they seem to be getting better. So I think teams who are wanting to play them would rather play them now. So, I mean, you've got Reciprocity playing them tomorrow. That'll be a really good game, I think, actually. So I'm really interested to see which way that one goes. But guys, another great night of Pro League. You can tell my demeanor. I am starting to get very, very tired of staying up until 1:30 or so every single night, and then waking up at 8 a.m. the next day. I'm telling you, I'm becoming an old man. I'm nearly 27. I feel 50. It's ridiculous. I just can't hack it anymore. I can't hack up staying up on these late nights. But let me know what you thought of those games last night. Do you think Red are going to get better, or do you think, you know, they're going to get some of the results? LG, what is their problem right now? it just seems to be everything at this point. Same with EG. Not looking great for them. Do Genji have the potential to go on and do great things in this group? ROG getting better? It seems so. Are Midnight actually going to be beaten at this point? It's looking rough for the first 2 weeks at least. They're looking really, really nice in every different way. Let me know your thoughts on the results from last night. The games coming up tonight is Midnight against UIU, Optic against Rec, Red v LG, and Genji versus Evil Geniuses. Now that'll be a very, very interesting one. Really looking at these middle two of Optic against Rec and Red v LG. I think those are going to be great games. Other side of things, I think Midnight and Genji should take those two easily, but we will see in the games tonight. We'll catch you for another review tomorrow.